Good evening, Africa. This is once again the time that we meet again and discuss football on the continent. This is African football. Yes, definitely shifting attention a little bit as to the norm, but we would start with something, looking at what the kids are doing as far as playing football is concerned. It's not only for the adults. You are with me, Elasto Lungu Kapoeja, really driving the show. It is hashtag Fran Football. We want to hear from you. Engage every time. We really enjoy whenever we get those tweets. Really engaging us, asking us, getting involved with all the talking points that we normally go through on every Thursday night. This evening is no exception. Yes, we are going to start with a little bit of this tournament that involve, very, very young kids. But football is all about, it's exclusive. Whether it's the adults, whether it's the kids, that's what it's all about. And so let me take this opportunity to introduce my guests, special guests that are here with me tonight to try to take me through what we're going to talk about. It is Coach Emmanuel Gogela, who's here. I hope I've pronounced his name properly. But Coach, we want to welcome you to This is African Football. Welcome. I know you're going to share with us exactly what you're involved with, but we want to welcome you to the show.
Thanks, my man.
Yes, all right. And of course, I am with our usual guest, Timothy Batabaire, to take me through this interview that we have lined up regarding the Danone Nations Cup. It is a tournament. We know South Africa has won it 3 times. I remember very well in 2003, South Africa really, winning this under 12 tournament. This time around, of course, being played in Barcelona 2019. There is a team. That is why the coach is here, Coach Emmanuel, to tell us more about this team that has done wonders, that is going to represent the country. It is played by 28 countries that are going to participate in the 2019 DNC. 20 boys, 8 girls team that will be taking part. It is played by more than 2 million children participate in this game. Lifetime experience, making children world citizens. And of course, it is a special kind of tournament as far as Danone is concerned. They turned 20 in 2019. That is this tournament. It is the 20 times that is going to be played. And of course, Danone is celebrating 100 years of existing. You might know Danone when it comes to that smooth tasty yogurt. But yes, they have been involved in football at large. Coach, tell us more about this competition, this tournament. You've got a team that you are taking through. Tell us more how it came about that on the 7th of October, you will be flying out, going all the way Spain, Barcelona, where the tournament actually is going to take place from the 8th of October.
Yes, my man. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. Yeah, man, if I can just try to start, my man, it wasn't a journey which I can say is simple.
Yes.
Yeah, we come a long way. If I can just try to start, my man, we started around our cluster level. May I remember we're based in Ivory Park. Now we were actually competing with the schools around our places. And plus minus 15 schools we're competing with around our areas. And my man, by that actually I can say lucky or endurance, or by that passion, man, yes, we managed to get position 1 out of that. And my man, we proceed to the district level. And our district is Johannesburg, which is D9.
Yes.
Now we're actually playing with the schools which won around their places, around their cluster. Now our cluster is consist of IS Ivory Park, Tembisa. It consists of the Greater Alexander and Midrand. Now we actually played around Balfour Park, if you know Balfour Park, yes, where Highlands Park is playing the development. Now we managed, man, again to pass through that stage. And we actually beat all of those schools. And we actually go again with our competition. We go to the regionals. And the regionals, again, they were again in Balfour Park. And my man, these girls, they actually do wonders. They again actually manage to actually take position 1 out of that. Wow. And they actually go to the province. And the province, we are talking of Gauteng province. If I can just mention actually some of the places or the schools which we're actually competing with. Yes. There were the schools around Hammanskraal, Springs, Fennec. You can mention them around Gauteng. And again, man, with that passion, with these learners, with these girls, we managed again to win the Gauteng province competition. And again, man, now there comes the national at Rhor Park. You know, there it was more than hard. And the good thing is that even the parents of these learners were there, actually supporting their children. And man, by that lucky man, we won the final by the penalty 2-3. And that's why now we've actually won this trip to go to Barcelona.
Earning a ticket, Timothy, to go to Barcelona, that is what you can see, the excitement that the coach has when he speaks about this team. He talks about luck, he talks about everything that had to happen.
I can
But
tell you,
yeah.
you can understand how the passion is translated onto these kids, you know. But again, I think this is a wonderful tournament, you know. It's Danone is across about over 3,000 schools, and you can understand the core of football development. You have to go into schools. If you go into schools, you're not only grooming footballers, but you're grooming future leaders of the sport in the coming years. But for me, it's very encouraging that you have got, you know, education vis-a-vis sports going hand in hand, and I think it's a very great tournament. If you're listening to us, we can try to explain the passion the coach is trying to put out forward, and they can imagine what takes place on the field of play when he's coaching these kids. And I think it's a great opportunity for these kids, great awareness. You know, at under 12, you know, the world is the oyster for them.
Definitely, you know what, there's just so much for these young girls between the ages of 10 and 12, coach, that you'll be taking with you all the way to Spain. If you look at what Danone is trying to achieve, using such a tournament as a platform to educate players on sustainability with a reduced environment footprint through recycling. So there's just a lot, coach, that it's more than football itself, but it's great to see that your team, these young girls, will be taking part in this tournament. But I think there's something bigger, coach, in participating in such a tournament. It's not the first time you are taking place. You've gone to such a tournament with the boys team. Exactly. This time around, taking the girls team. But what does it mean for these young girls when they realize that indeed we've booked our tickets to go to Barcelona, Spain?
No, you know what, it really means so much to them, because you know what, one thing which I can highlight is that these young girls are coming from, you know, poor background. You know, they are coming from disadvantaged areas, squatter camps. But you know what, whenever they go to the field, they actually forget about all that. And you know what, they actually concentrate on the game. And I can tell you, this has opened doors for them. They have 3 to 4 players which have been actually selected to actually come and do some clinical and do some trials in vets. Wow. And I think, you know what, if they can be lucky, their dream can be actually coming true to these learners. And you know what, to me as a coach also, it opened doors for me. Because who knows, you know, the National League for the girls, or they just actually started. Who knows? Maybe someone can actually find himself.
Are you considering coaching on a full-time basis?
There you if there are some teams out there in our women's national league that are looking for a coach, here is a coach, Coach Emmanuel. He has done well, you know, really making sure that the boys at one stage took part in this tournament. Now is the girls. South Africa having hosted these World Finals in 2010, the year, of course, that South Africa hosted the men's FIFA World Cup. Like I said, South Africa winning this tournament 3 times, 2003, 2007, 2009. Coach, you are going to this tournament. Yes, the hard part of qualifying is now out of the way. Now you look at who you are going to face. You are looking at the countries like Argentina, England, France, Italy, Japan, of course our own South Africa sending a team, Spain as well, who are the host, and of course Uruguay. I mean, these are all countries that are well known, are powerhouses as far as football is concerned. Are you excited to be meeting the likes of Argentina, England, all these teams lined up
Oh, you know
your
what?
fun?
Oh, at the same time, I'm very happy. At the same time, always that fear. But you know what? I think we are not going though to add numbers, but we are going there actually to compete. Now, I should tell you that now the grouping has been done.
Yes.
We are as South Africa. We are having Japan. We are having France. We are having Italy in our grouping. And you know what? I've actually tried with the girls to actually show them some of the clips, some of the videos of these ladies. Yeah, but you know what? Those people actually, whenever we're coming to soccer, they advance. But I think as much as our practice are concerned, Danone has actually hired someone for us, whom actually was actually helping us.
Yes.
It's professional. It's Boo. He was coaching actually the development of vets. Now I think we have actually done plus minus 20 to 22 sessions with him. And believe me, I think these girls has come from one stage to another. And up to so far, that is what I'm saying. I'm confident that we are not going there to add numbers, but we are going to compete.
They are going to compete. It is #front football. Well wishes to the girls, to the coach and his team. We want to hear from you. They are, of course, representing South Africa, flying that flag very, very high when they go to Spain. Timothy, looking at the preparation that the coach has spoken about, how important is this team in terms of getting that support from everyone? It's not only a small team hailing from Tembisa, but it's a team that, again, going there, there is a South African. It's a South African team that is representing the country. How important already as vets have offered the technical expertise to make sure that they've got a coach who can, hand in hand with Coach Emmanuel to try and make sure that the girls are ready and also they do well. But in terms of support coming from elsewhere, how important is it that this team should get all the support they need?
Definitely. This it should get all the support it needs, right from the government, SAFA in particular as the mother body for football in the country. But this oncurs well. These are opportunities that are being provided to the disadvantaged kids in Tembisa and over and above in over the whole nation. So for me, this is an opportunity where the government can tap into this talent to try and inspire homes and families to try and dream bigger. Football is a big business. There are many players now that are being spotted by vets. We have got the Sasso League. We have got Banyana. Yes. They have been performing so well. So these kids can be absorbed within this new league. Clubs can tap into this new talent so that they can be given a chance. But for me, I wouldn't love these kids to lose the focus of education. I think the emphasis should be on education vis-a-vis, pursuing their talent, and that's football. So for me, there has to be an understanding within that academic setup. Yes, I'm impressed that the coach is also a teacher, so he has assured us that even during this time when the kids will be away for the tournament, they have structured a way that they won't miss their lessons. They'll try to compensate them. So I think that's very key, because at the end of the day, you need education to guide your talent.
No, the coach has assured us that when they're on that flight, they'll be doing some homeworks, they'll be doing some assignments, I can tell you. But coach, looking at this age group.
I'm putting one on the
So the parents should be rest assured.
All the parents, they're in surface. They've got their teacher and coach. That is Coach Emmanuel, who also doubles up as a teacher, of course. Which makes everything to be a bit easier in terms of really the kids understanding their coach and the coach understanding the kids where they are as well. But coach, looking at this age group of the under 12, it should be difficult dealing with such an age group as a coach. And you look at what Danone is trying to do. I think purposely this tournament it targeted this age group for a particular reason. Because they would have gone for an under 20, under 17. But why, coach, would you think that specifically they wanted an under 12?
Yeah, man, I think one reason is that development is very important, especially in our country. If you see the countries whom we're saying they are very advanced in soccer, like Spain, Netherlands, and the like, they started in development. And you know what? If you started in development, you will never go wrong. Because if you start a child in early stage, maybe plus 9 years, 10 years, grow with that talent. You know what, whenever it reaches 15, 16, that player now is well matured. And I think, man, they are doing a very good job, because in South Africa, man, I think this will actually lift our standard in women, in fact. Because, in as far as boys, I think something is in place. But when coming to girls,
not so much for the girls.
Yeah, but for the girls, it wasn't so much. That is what I'm saying. Now I'm happy because there's National League for the girls. Yes. I think this is going to do better to our country. Yes.
Because tournaments like this now, you might find, Tim, that some of these girls that are going to participate in this tournament, future Banyana players, definitely it is good that South Africa is sending teams to tournament like this. It is Danone, of course, that are saying that children are change makers. They need to be given that opportunity for them to make sure that they experience this life. This is the age group that kids develop a passion for soccer. You get them at this age, definitely that they are hooked up for this game. But of course, equally like what Tim said, that education does not need to be neglected. Now, Tim, looking at yes, I think we touched a bit on the opponent and the objectives that now the team going there, and South Africa has won it before. Already the bar has been set very, very high. And again, would you say that the team needs to go there, like what the coach is saying to us, that look, go there and do the best you can, but being there alone, maybe there's also a lot that could be achieved by the team just getting to Spain?
Look, at this moment in time, they're the flag bearers of South Africa, so they are representing the nation. But for me, what is very important at this moment in time, we should also point it out that this is the inaugural tournament for the ladies being played. So that is also very monumental at this moment in time. So you are having a kid, some of them is going to be their first time to set foot on the plane. That experience, I'm sure the players, they would want to have more experiences like that. So this is a catalyst. This is something like that will spur them to dream big. And also, normally this is a platform where so many teams will tap into these kids. They will attract their own sponsors to come back to South Africa. They will have to visit South Africa, visit their school to see what they can do, how best they are doing. And so you'll find that they'll get sponsors maybe to work on their fields, to sponsor them in their training kits, and that just grows the talent, not only for them, but for the future students who are going to go through these schools.
This is African Football as we wrap up this interview with Coach Emmanuel Gokela, who's of course leading the South African girls team under 12 to the Danone Nations tournament. The name of this school, it is Rebonwe Primary School. They will be representing South Africa. Coach, your parting terms, what is it that you want to say to South Africa about this team? What is it that you'd want to promise them as you prepare for this journey to Spain?
Yeah, maybe something which I can just present to South Africa is that South Africa, here is your team, the girls team, the under 12. They're yours. They're going there to represent you. And I should think, my man, the support that many people gave us, it was so superb. Like now, I just want to thank my principal, Mr. Shabani of Rebonwe Primary School. You know what? He gave us a very good support. I know whenever we were going out to practice, we were going looking for this. You know what? He never get tired. He was actually there for us, the SGB itself. You know, they were there for us whenever we were actually in this, whenever we were on top of their toes. You know what? They never actually get tired. They were actually supplying us with everything. The parents of these learners, you know, the support was so actually superb. Now my colleagues, you know, whenever we were at Reggae Park, they were all of them there supporting us. The support was so superb and it was so wonderful. That is why these girls has done this. And I just want to say to them, you know what, they must just actually be with us in spirit, emotional and the like. And I think we're going to do them proud. South Africa, as a coach, I'm actually totally convinced that these girls going to do them proud. And I just want to thank even the team manager. I've got the woman who is a teacher also in our school, which is Lillian Mabaso. Is the team manager of the team. Now, whenever I was there, it was at the practice level. But I just want to say to them, you know what, the support that we gave each other, it was so marvelous.
It's all about teamwork. We want to say to you, South Africa, our listeners everywhere, This team deserves your support. Follow them all the way to Spain when they are playing. We are going to follow them as well on this platform. That is, This is African Football. We will be checking on them and updating you as to their progress there in Spain. But we want to wish them everything of the best from everyone here at Fran Football.
And
This is African Football. Yes.
Maybe my man. Before I just forgot. I forgot
Yes.
our beautiful sponsor, Danone.
Danone.
I just want to thank them. You know what?
Yes.
If it wasn't because of them sponsoring us, giving us this opportunity, we were not going to be here today.
There you go.
No,
There you go.
you deserve the sponsorship because you're doing very well.
Thank you very much.
No, we thank you, Coach. Really, we want to wish you everything of the best with the
Thank you,
girls. We know you're going to do South Africa very, very proud. Already for them to have come this far, it is like an achievement on its own. Thank you to Timothy Patabaire, who was with me. We're going to continue, of course, with our usual in terms of the rest of the program. But thank you, and all the best to you, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, Coach, all the best.
All the best.
All right, cheers.
Okay.
Is anyone joining us?
No one is joining us. So, hey, now.
We are back. Welcome back to This is African Football. Yes, it was just a pleasure being in the midst of our coach there, just looking at matters concerning the young girls. But here we are, back to our usual programming. We don't have our usual guest, but I'll continue with Tim. We are going to have a conversation. We are going to enjoy every moment of it with Timothy Patabaire here as we look at all the happenings on the African continent as far as football is concerned, controversies, previews, anything that you might even want to remind us and to get in touch with us. It is hashtag Fran Football. We love the game. I can tell you there's just a lot on the menu tonight. It is what? Rhor, could he be out or not? Benatia, the Moroccan captain, former Moroccan captain, retires from international football. Hooliganism grips Zambian football. We saw some players, they're taking cover. The AFCON U23 Draw is out. Yes, we know South Africa is there. They are going to play in Egypt to try to be one of those teams that qualifies for the Olympics. Zamalek Champions League drama. But first team, we're going to look at Mo Salah is the new captain of the Pharaohs of the Egyptian national team. Now, the question would be, we all know, Timothy, what Mo Salah has achieved. We all love him. He has done well for both country and club. Yes, country, some might question the Nations Cup in his host nation. But here he is being named the new captain of Egypt. It is the new coach, of course. New coach in charge, new captain, that is Mo Salah. But Tim, the question would be, maybe many people as well, you might be asking at home as to, does he have the leadership qualities? Or is he just a star player that does not need to be given the responsibility of being a captain?
Lester, it's an interesting question, and in my position, you can look at from different angles. Mo Salah as a captain, Mo Salah as a celebrity, being one of the top players in the world at the moment, playing for Liverpool. So normally when you have a player of that caliber, you always have to hand over the armband to him just to keep peace in camp. The question is, will be the leadership transit through on the field of play? We have got players, when they get the armband, their performance on the field of play deteriorates because they are more worried about leading the team than performing on the field of play. But I think we have a new coach coming on board. I'll try to put myself in the mind of the coach. Is he trying to stabilize the camp? Is he trying to win over the camp on his side, given the fact that they have just fired the coach? Also, we have the federation that misfired in its voting, not voting for Mohamed Salah, the vote being an invalid vote at this moment in time. Are they trying to cash in on this Mohamed Salah not to retire from international football? So many things come into play. But for me, over and above, if you understand the magnitude of any comment that is made by Mohamed Salah. We had that scenario at the African Cup of Nations when he came out in support of his fellow teammate who was being accused of being, an aggressor to a lady, and then he was reinstated back in camp. That is how much he means to this Egyptian team. Yes. So for me, it is catch 50, catch 22 in this decision. It may be to try and get the sponsorship back on the FA. So for me, I would say it's not the right move to make Mohamed Salah the captain, given the fact that the former captain has not yet retired.
The former captain that you're talking about, it is Ahmed El Mohammadi. He's, we know him, really. A player as well who has done very well for Egypt, plays in the Barclays Premier League for Aston Villa, and we saw him at the Nations Cup. Nothing serious that you might say, look, let's strip him off of the armband. But now here is Mo Salah and team, of course, rightfully just taking us through some of the reasons why maybe the Egyptian FA thought it necessary to give these captains to one of, the best player on the continent. That's why he's the reigning African player of the year. But coaching a national team, is it something that you could just give that armband to anybody? Yes, if you look at some of the captains, the likes of Lionel Messi, again, you look at him being the star player, being the celebrity, captaining the national team. You look at, there are so many captains that are appointed for different reasons, and I don't think there's any kind of team, one blanket approach as to say that this is we saw a debacle as well when it came to Ghana where there was an issue between the Ayew brothers and of course Asamoah Gyan. I think he's still bitter even today about him not having captained the national team. But now, if you look at a team, the national team captain, what would make business sense in appointing a captain for the national team? What are the characteristics that the FA or the coach, you might say, these are a must? The national team captain must have these certain characteristics. They must always be there. What are those?
I think it must be a unifying factor.
He must be a unifying figure,
especially to the nation. And in Mohamed Salah, you have that caliber of a player. Remember, it took the decision of the president to say no more hiring of foreign coaches. Al Badri is a local coach, so he knows all the dynamics of the local players. So he's coming and putting his foot down, saying, at this moment in time, I'm just appointing, I'm just selecting Mohamed Salah as the captain of the national team. So there's some logic behind that. They want to galvanize, the country behind the national team, given the fact that they underperformed during the AFCON. So I think this is a rebuilding phase, but in this moment, when you have a new coach, local at that, making a decision to strip a local player, a long-serving captain of the armband, I'm telling you,
because you might also just create some animosity in camp.
No, it has already been created. Don't be surprised when he's going to announce his
now
his retirement at this moment in time.
The current captain might just throw in the towel and retire from international football.
Indeed,
because how does he come and play now? Under Mo Salah, he was the captain. I mean,
at this moment in time, I think it will be the onus is now on Mohamed Salah to make sure that he reaches out to the former captain and try and have a discussion and get to know the bottom of it, because it's an egoistic thing at this moment in time, because they are all playing in the English Premier League. So
I don't know about that. Reaching out and having a small conversation
they need
outside
because
of actually the national team itself.
They are two senior players, and they are the core of the team. So for the team to perform well, I think they must have that understanding. We did understand during the AFCON that we had Mohamed Salah, the captain then, coming on board and supporting one of their own. That's how united they stood against the average that were being leveled against their teammate, and they stood and they took the fall for it. So it's important and imperative that Mohamed Salah can do the same, reach out to the former captain and try to see if they can solve it. Unfortunately, they have already announced Mohamed Salah as the captain, so there is no way it can be reversed. If they do, then it will be real trouble for this FA.
It is #Fran Football. This is African Football. It is the show that we normally just gives you all these issues on the African football as far as the beautiful game is concerned. Some controversies. And here you can see already this has a potential to just divide the Pharaohs camp. Interesting to see what would happen to the former captain that has been stripped, Ahmad El Mohammadi, who actually led this team to the World Cup as well, and so forth. But anyway, we can only say watch this space. Tell us, what do you think, you who's listening at home, whether it is a good season, whether he's deserving Mo Salah to be the captain of Egypt based on his achievements, his individual achievements as a player, winning the Champions League. Maybe you might say that, look, anybody in that team really being under Mo Salah, somebody who has out-achieved almost everybody, maybe is deserving. How are they going to do it? Very difficult in terms of really stripping off or demoting the current captain. We all know what happened with Ghana when that happened with the Ayew brothers and Asamoah Gyan. Okay, staying in Egypt team, Zamalek versus this club from Senegal, Generation Foot. I mean, drama. We know the drama that we witnessed in the Champions League last year is still not yet concluded, settled. Here we've got another drama where Zamalek and this team from Senegal, second leg of the CAF Champions League, the game never gets to be played. Take us through what happened.
Look, last though, Generation Foot was leading. First leg they beat Zamalek 2-1. So they are coming to play the second leg, and 24 hours before the game, they are presented with a letter at around 4 o'clock. They are saying that there's a change in the venue of the game.
24 hours.
24 hours. And remember, we know that it has to be 10 days for the notification for the change of the venue.
10 working days.
10 working days. So we're having CAF signing this letter confirming change of the stadium, given the fact of purported security risks that were not mentioned by Zamalek. So what Generation Foot, I think they are very crude about the status of CAF, but I don't know whether the leadership of CAF knows their rules. So they said, no, listen, at this moment in time, we have the right. The rules state that we are meant to be training our last training on the field of play that we're gonna play the game, and you are telling us to travel from Alexandria, I think, to Cairo. So they said no. So on the day of the game, remember they were changing even the date of the game from Saturday to Sunday. So what they did, they pitched on the designated field stadium where they're gonna play. So at this moment in time, we are waiting for CAF to be able to interpret their own rules. At this moment in time, as I'm following what is happening now, if you look at the status right now, I think at this moment in time, if the right procedure is followed, Zamalek is out of the tournament?
Oh, I think that's a big one. If you look at the magnitude, the caliber of a team of Zamalek stature, and if you look as well as to this power, this dominance that we see from North African teams when it comes to CAF matters. I mean, CAF, I think they've proved over and over that they are incapable of interpreting their rules. Following their rules is a challenge. You saw what happened with the VAR situation, Casablanca, and of course Esperance. Of course, Esperance being declared winners. But Tim, these things could not be happening if rules. It seems as if you look at teams from North Africa, team, because of this lapse, because of this disregard for rules, they feel that team they can do whatever they want. Because if there was this fear and respect of the rules, the statutes of CAF, definitely, team, you could not change a fixture 24 hours, especially an international fixture. This is the CAF Champions League that we're talking about. If you look at the reasons, the security threats that were happening, that there were protests against the Egyptian president that were happening in and around Cairo. You look at other league matches that took place a day after in Egypt. There was football that happened in Egypt, league football. But now, you tend to think that, one, mind games as well are at play. Because remember, Zamalek were trailing in this match. So all this put together, where we are seated, you and I, we can safely say that Zamalek has to bow out of this competition. But that normally would not be the case.
It won't be the case at this moment in time, because the custodians of the law, and that is CAF, is part of the fiasco. They signed a letter agreeing to the fact that they need to postpone that game to the next day to be played in a different stadium. So, and they are the custodians of the law. So when you have these North African teams trying to bully the administrators, it's because they are weak. There's the inept leadership in CAF. We don't have a strong leadership that can stand on their ground and say, this is the law, you have broken the law, you have to forfeit the points. At this moment in time, I think maybe for the first time we shall have the court of arbitration. If Generation Foot takes that route, to be declared, to reinstate them in CAF. There is no way at this moment in time for Zamalek to progress. Yeah,
because again, we are sick and tired of court of arbitration for sport. If there's any money that they're making, I think they're making a lot of money on CAF cases.
But also, what is even wrong with the court of arbitration is that they are not conclusive. They always throw it back to the.
But that's what I'm saying. That team you are referring to the Raja Casablanca. Casablanca game and also Esperance, isn't it?
Yes.
Where again, if you look at what CAF did there, that disregard for their own statutes, where the CAF Executive Committee, convened to try to come up with a decision, and CAS said, no ways, you're not a competent body. You've got a DC. You've got an appeals body that is supposed to handle such matters.
They had to be reminded that, listen, you need to leave every body within the structure of CAF to perform its duties. You should not override because you are a CAF president or whatever your board. There are competent bodies that are supposed to make those decisions. And at this moment in time, CAF is lacking. It's an detriment to this leadership. It's a total embarrassment to African football.
Maybe it will be that maybe you would justify now why FIFA had to send their own Secretary General Fatima Samura to try and make sure that she puts this CAF house in order, because as it stands right now, I don't think that there's any negotiations here, team.
I'm more interested about the investigations about Ahmed. This gentleman should not be leading CAF at this moment in time. He should resign and go back home. We should not be embarrassed because of his inept leadership.
All right, this is what the Senegalese team are saying. They are saying that for any venue change to be effected, both teams must agree. This is according to CAF rules, and I can tell you this is a battle for which team is going to join the 15 others in the October 9 group phase draw, and that you are guaranteed $550,000 prize money just to be in those group phase. Anyway, it's another watch this space situation. We'll see how it goes. But Tim and I, we do agree that it's a non-starter, non-negotiable. The rules are clear. Zamalek need to bow out of this competition unless CAF have got something that we don't know. It is hashtag Front Football. Join us. We really want to hear from you. It is Tim and the last talker Poege, of course, discussing all these talking points regarding the beautiful game on the African continent. As we continue, yes, with, again, North Africa. You know what? There is a question here, Tim, coming from Josh Moremeng.
Josh, yes.
Yeah, Josh.
We shall go with Josh.
So Josh says, as we're about to talk about Wydad Casablanca, Josh asks the question, why Wydad is still not being sanctioned after the last edition of the CAF Champions League saga. I think this is what we are seeing, because Wydad Casablanca, Timothy, they participated last week in the second round of the CAF Champions League. They won 4-1. They are through to the group stages of the CAF Champions League, but there's still a case pending.
Yes.
So that is why Josh is also asking that question, that why were they not sanctioned? Because if they were sanctioned, possibly they might not be taking place in the current CAF Champions League that is taking place. And the draw is going to be made on the 9th of October, and the name of Wydad Casablanca would be in the head. So are they supposed to be playing this year, or is it there? Or maybe, yes, the issue of last season is not actually interfering with what is happening to this current CAF Champions League.
At this moment in time, I think, Josh, I think to be sincere, is like they're still petitioning. So at this moment in time, it will be very premature to sanction them at this moment in time.
Or to suspend them.
But we also know that Esperance have been paid their winning.
Yes, 2.5 million.
2.5 million for winning the CAF Champions League. So that puts their petition, to bed. So at this moment in time, again, we are calling upon the leadership of CAF to take this as an opportunity to act and redeem themselves. But I highly doubt that they can take that step.
Yeah, that is very, I think when it's very concerning. If you look at what the North African teams are doing to football on the continent, where we feel, team, that really football on the pitch, it is improving. We've said it over and over again on this platform. But huge concern as to the politics of African football, of CAF in particular, in how they are dealing with teams up north. There was a case against the Moroccan FA president with the referee from Ethiopia, really assaulting that referee. Yeah. But that case, it didn't go further. I think that case was just dropped. For me, I mean, the list is endless. You look at this venue change. Even Sundowns at one stage, Al Ali did the same with Sundowns.
Look at that,
changing venues in the last minute. But we never heard anything regarding sanctions.
Because you've got an inept administration leading CAF, African football. The clubs will always try to find an opportunity, where there is a weakness, and they are going to exploit it to their advantage. So you cannot blame the clubs. They have got the resources. They have got the dream and aspirations of being African champions. So they want to cheat the system. So the system has to be the custodians of the law. The custodian of football on the African continent is CAF, and we have inept leaders masquerading as football leaders on the African continent.
Oh, I can tell you, it is. At times, it drains you. It just, takes all the strength out of you when we talk about this CAF leadership. We thought it was a new dawn, new broom was going to sweep very, very clean when Ahmad took over from Isayatu. But it seems as if we have regressed instead of actually going forward. All right, it is hashtag Fran Football.
Change is costly.
We want to hear from you. Join us. You can send your questions. You can tweet us regarding whatever topic that we're talking about. As far as football is concerned. Yes, staying in Egypt again, team. We are looking at the AFCON U23 Draw that already took place. We all know now who is going to face who. It is the host in Group A, as usual, coming up against Mali, Cameroon, and Ghana. Group B, it has the likes of Nigeria. It has the likes of Ivory Coast, South Africa, the two COSAFA region teams being pitted in the same group.
A group of derbies.
Yeah, South Africa and also Zambia. Your take on this team? Is a very important tournament, of course. The under-23 AFCON, where we know that the three teams would qualify for the 2020 Olympics
in Tokyo.
But yes, in Tokyo, that is Japan. Yes, South Africa being there before. We saw that the likes of Nigeria, they've won it before as well, 1990s. They are the defending champions. How easy is it for the teams, or how hard is it for these teams? I mean, this is the cream, the 8 teams that are going to participate in this tournament.
Under 23 aspiring footballers, to their craft.
Yes.
I think you have got the best teams, the best talent on shore.
Yes.
The greatest prize is to qualify for the Olympics, and that's another opportunity to try and market yourself as a player. Now you have got if you are going into the tournament thinking that they are weak teams, then you are mistaken. If you think you're going to lose your first game and you'll pull through, you are mistaken, because you are getting the best of the best teams gracing the tournament next month. So you are having the likes of Nigeria playing Cote d'Ivoire, South Africa, Zambia. That's the cream of the talent. It's a mixture of West Africa versus Southern region, and those are derbies. And then you have got Ghana that really surprised Algeria, drawing 1-1 in Kumasi, and then going to Algeria and qualifying for the tournament. I think you have got the best teams that are going to show us the best football on the African continent that we can aspire to. Better preparation, good organization of these teams. We shall have a spectacle of football, and the future will be great. I hope this tournament will be able to try and rekindle the dimming lights of African football.
The likes of Cameroon really doing very well. Ivory Coast, coming up against Guinea in their last match, that Nigeria really powering over the likes of Sudan. It's a very, very important tournament. And team, maybe the question that I'm also getting from Josh as he continues to engage with us, he asked the question that, will the PSL release players for this upcoming tournament? Because it's not a FIFA sanctioned tournament. Therefore, you might find that club versus country issue might come to play. How important? We saw South Africa really doing very well against Zimbabwe, bringing all their star players. I think it's most of these players are based in Europe, based overseas. And some of them playing, of course, their trade here in South Africa at home. So the question is, I'm sure he's a concerned citizen, saying that, will the players be released for this under-23 tournament? What needs to be done to make sure that Coach David Notwane is at full strength in terms of his squad?
Elasto, from where I'm sitting from, is like foresighted leadership, I think, demands that you allow these players to go and participate in this tournament. One, it's not only good for the PSL, but even for the parent clubs where they're coming from. So for me, the leadership of the PSL especially the leadership of clubs, I think should, at this moment in time, should be engaging the various clubs where these players are, they're playing their talent. The coach should be allowed to try and have a one-on-one discussion with various coaches that are preparing these coaches so that they can be released. This is a one in a lifetime opportunity. Some of these players are not playing week in, week out in their PSL teams. I think they shouldn't be denied the opportunity to go and show talent. It will be very good for the PSL, for their own teams. But always, there's that leadership crisis that protects these owners of clubs that always deny these players an opportunity to go and show talent in these tournaments. This tournament, I think, is a once-off for these kids. They should be allowed to go and participate. There's no way a player is going to miss maybe 2 or 3 games for the league, and it's going to have a huge impact on the team. I think they should be given an opportunity. I think cool heads should prevail in this moment in time.
Cool heads should prevail. It is a tournament, of course, scheduled to take place from the 8th to the 22nd of November. The PSL would be in full swing during that time. Imagine you've got your Sipombuli, who's doing very well at Supersport. You've got the likes of Teboko Mokwena. Imagine Coach Kaitano Tembo now scratching his head that the whole of my midfield won't be around when they go and play.
For me, I know Gaetano Temba played in the Champions League. He participated in these tournaments. I'm sure from where he will be seated, he would make that decision in the interest of the players to go and participate. They will come back better players for SuperSport United, to champion SuperSport United for greater championships.
I wonder what you think if you are listening, if you are a SuperSport supporter, where key of your players will be missing in action for almost close to 10 days away, you know, from the team. But anyway, looking at the bigger picture, and yes, club football is very important. You know what? These players, their bread is buttered at their clubs. They make appearance to come for the national team. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting how both the league and SAFA are going to reach, you know, an amicable agreement towards this. You know what? You might need to sacrifice. You might even say, for me, I would say, Timothy, I would say that if a team, for example, a SuperSport or any club has more than 2 players, maybe you might look to postpone some of their fixtures. But in all goodness, but for this tournament, because we can't say
what if these players are injured? They won't be available. If a player is injured, he won't be available for selection. So you look at the player is not available. So there's another available player who can still perform. You have got the Farman there. You'll have the player to play. But for me also, administratively, I'll look at this opportunity to try and market my club as a club that gives players an opportunity when it arises. So I'll allow these players to go and play in such a tournament. And then when I'm scouting for players, I'll assure them that if there's an opportunity either to play in a huge tournament or even go to Europe, I will release you because you have seen me release these players and play. I will market my club on those grounds, and I'm telling you, I'm praying that Gaetano Temba can release these players to go and partake in this tournament.
There you hear, coach, from Timothy Batabaire, the likes of Sipombule, Teboko Mokwena, they must be released. The likes of Teshas Malepe, they must be released. The likes of Sam of Orlando Pirates, of course, is not a regular. They must be released. The likes of Ngezana, the center back of Kaizer Chiefs, they must be released. Let them go and represent the country. Yes, in Europe, you've got the likes of Kodisang, the likes of Singh, Foster, all these players. They are going to do duty if they are released by their clubs for the South African under-23 national team. But for me, I would say that yes, there needs to be a sensible decision that would benefit both the clubs and also the association, the country, of which it might be very difficult. But if there are more than 2 players that are being called up for this tournament, I would say that maybe look to postpone some of the games for these teams. What do you think? Let us know. It is hashtag Front Football. I am with Timothy Batabaire. My name is Elasto Capoeja. Yes, Tim, as we shift gears and attention, of course, now to Malawi, the president, Walter Nyamilandu. He's got an appetite. He is still holding on. He wants to be re-elected for, what, 5th term? He's been
15 years.
15 years at the helm. Now he wants again to be re-elected. We know that Walter Nyamilandu, he is a member of the FIFA Council. We know that he is a member of the CAF Executive Committee. He wants as well to continue to be the president of the Football Association of Malawi. If he wants to continue, Tim, what is it that he has that he can say, look, I've done this, I've achieved this? Yes, he's saying that in terms of infrastructure, in terms of sponsorship, the corporate is helping, is supporting, is on board. He has improved the infrastructure of Malawi football, Malawian football. But if you look at the team itself, that is the national team, the senior national team, qualifying only once under his tenure to the AFCON, the African Nations Cup. And they haven't done that since this man has been at the helm. Only once has the national team qualified. So what is it that people, or those that are going to vote, or the reason why he wants to stay on board, what is it that he has done for Malawi?
Elasto, what you have done can be seen by results. At this moment in time, we don't see the frames, coming out on tops, not qualifying for the AFCON. Yes, you can talk of the structures, you can talk of the sponsorship, but those structures and sponsorship are only happening in Malawi, and we're not seeing anything tangible to talk about. But for me, it comes back to what I call the potato growers, and those are the affiliates, the so-called voters. You have got the cocoons of these guys, the electorate, who are voting the so-called federation president. These are under the pockets of these people. They are part of this sponsorship goes into putting money into their pockets. But yes, what is very disappointing is that Walter is renegading on his word to say that when he say that he will stand down. So he claims that the affiliates have contacted him and approached him and convinced him to say, please, can you continue leading the Football Association of Malawi, given the fact that you're a member of the FIFA Council. The only way we can benefit is when you are still the leader of the federation. And so for me, it comes back to the recycling of leadership on the African continent. We are not having proper leadership. I think 15 years are enough to have groomed a successor, to have groomed other leaders that can take from you. You can still serve football, but in a different position. You don't need to be the federation president. So I think, for me, this is patronage, and I don't think this is going to anchor well for Malawian football.
Patronage, almost getting to 16 years. That is Walter Nyamilandu at the helm. Power hungry sometimes, you can say, when you talk about some of these African FA presidents. But FIFA has come up with a term limit, of course, to say that because they've seen that some people want to die in these leadership positions. So FIFA did come up with a term limit to say that it can't be more than 3-4 years each. So effectively meaning that only 12 years you are allowed. I think for me it's even too much, 12 years for someone just being at the helm. Yeah, they'll tell you. I think for Nyamilandu is saying that, look, I need to stay in power because I need to finish what I started. When is he going to finish what he started? When he's been there for almost 15 to 16 years. Yeah. He's saying that him being a member, I think that is another issue, Tim, that we need to look at, because now he's using that to leverage, to try to his advantage. He's saying that the fact that I am a member of the FIFA Council, now, if I lose this election, this 5th attempt that he's doing, if I lose this election, then I still occupy my position as a member of the FIFA Council. Now, he's throwing it to the voters to say that that is not going to benefit Malawian football, because now I cannot really link the two. But if I'm an FA president and I'm also at the FIFA Council, at the CAF Executive Committee, then the benefits are easy. It's direct. All the connections, everything that needs to be done to make sure that he uses these two positions to the advantage of Malawi would be possible if he remains in power. Now, it poses the question that if you lose your election, if you're not a sitting FA president, why must you be a CAF executive member? Why must you still be a member of the FIFA Council when back home you are actually not in the structures of the FA? I think for me, there's a problem there.
Elasto, it's a silly season. They are busy making, these are campaigning rhetorics. If you understand well, there's nothing wrong for him losing the elections and retaining the FIFA Council membership, but still work for the benefit of Malawian football. Is he trying to insinuate the fact that he's going to rebel against the incumbent that is going to take over? So it doesn't make sense. But we understand that it's a serious season. They are trying to campaign for him to retain leadership. But for me, this is key. One, there is a leadership void. 15 years are too long. You have not qualified for the AFCON. You're talking
only
about,
once. You qualified once.
You're talking about the AFCON. You are talking about the infrastructure.
He says
there's nothing much you can say that as FA president you can never set up the infrastructure. It's the government responsibility to make sure that the infrastructure is running. At this moment in time, you are getting the grant. Are you doing the right thing with the grant? You as a leader, you can only direct the grant that is coming to put up the stadiums. It's not you. It's not coming from your pocket. It's not coming from. It's not coming from the stadium. This is money allocated to every FA in every FIFA member country. So you cannot claim that the infrastructure development is because of you. It is only happening during your tenure as a FA president, but it's not you. It's the leader. It's FIFA taking out that. But above all, I think they should look at football in Malawi, not individuals. Yes, he's trying to align himself that, yes, I'm close to the power decision making body that can, benefit Malawi. But at this moment in time, the benefits are not there.
The benefits are not there. Nyamilandu can claim all he wants. According to Tim, he says, definitely this money that is using to build infrastructure, it is a grant that comes from FIFA. You can't claim too much credit to the money that is channeled by FIFA towards the very same reason that he mentions. But anyway, it's election campaigning, like Tim has put it, and we'll see. Yes, there are many candidates that are going to fight it up to try to win that position. I think some of them, former, his vice president is also thrown his name into that hat to try to contest for these elections in Malawi. We wish everyone of the best there, but for me, I feel that we can't recycle the same old ideas. We need new ideas. Yes, we called for that at CAF, but I think right now we a little bit have got egg on our face, because what we called for, actually, it never materialized into positive things happening at CAF. Hashtag Fran Football. Hopefully you're enjoying the show. It is a discussion that I'm having with Timothy Batabaire here regarding some of these issues on the African continent. Tim, we turn our focus now to Nigeria. Coach Rhor, looks like there's instability there as far as this coach is concerned. We know what is done for the Super Eagles, qualifying them for the World Cup, of which is not something new to the Super Eagles.
That's a must.
They normally do qualify for the World Cup. Nations Cup, they missed 2013, they missed 2017, no, 2015. They won it in 2013. 2015, they were nowhere to be seen. 2017 team, they were nowhere to be seen. Rhor comes, 2019, takes the team all the way to the finals. Runners up, losing to Algeria. But still, it seems as if that is not enough, or there's more to it than we don't know, in terms of why there seems to be every time a possibility of a change in the technical team of the Super Eagles?
Elasto, from where I'm sitting and trying to understand the football politics of Nigeria, at this moment in time, I'm looking at the coach being the mouthpiece of the federation president, given the challenges that he's facing. At this moment in time, the coach is trying to portray that yes and no, I can renew my contract, I may not renew my contract. And some of the reasons why I may not renew my contract: one, there is no respect for the job that I'm doing; two, there is organizational problems.
Yes.
And one that was very significant, what he was talking about was he was raising issues that were pertaining to, the future of Nigerian football. You're talking about having assembled a very good team. On average, they've got the youngest squad.
Yes.
That can be subject to discussion. But on paper at this moment in time, yes, given the team that they assembled for AFCON, they've got the youngest squad at this moment in time. So we are having challenges where Rhor is saying, I've got offers. He had been approached by different countries,
yes,
including Morocco. But what is key and what is affecting all African coaches at this moment in time, that is the true reason he raised, I told you, it's about the organizational problem.
Yes.
You've got a lack of respect. But what is key is that promises are not being kept. Now, when you have got a coach who is not having his promises to him not kept, and that's the coach. What about the players? Because the coach you're as good as your players.
Yes.
So if the players are not getting their salaries and their promises are not being kept, you're going to struggle as a coach. So at this moment in time, I think he's trying to broaden. He's trying to broaden his net, try and see if he can try to entice the likes of Bafana to come for him. He's trying
Bafana has got a coach.
No, it doesn't matter. He's trying to say, yes, I'm available. He may be also using it as a bargaining chip for his renewal of the contract. This is coming to an end in 2020. So this is being smart about it, is being open, and is trying to portray himself as a very important coach.
Besides all that, Timothy, maybe the coach is trying to make sure that his contract is improved, and also maybe just testing waters in all these nations that at the moment, powerful nations on African coast, the likes of Morocco, you mentioned South Africa as well, that might fall for a coach of his caliber. But looking at his tenure, Timothy, how would you summarize? Would you say that really the coach improved the Super Eagles from the time he took over? Or you say that maybe where he found them, they are still there?
No, at this moment in time, we can say he improved them. He qualified them for the World Cup. That was major. Normally, yes, we can dream of an African team winning the World Cup, but qualifying is always good enough. Yes, we expected much from them to qualify maybe for the second round, but it didn't happen. So he would claim that under his leadership, also under his leadership was able to organize them. Management-wise, we never had any salary crisis befalling the Super Eagles. That was always normal. They had the players sign contracts prior to going to the tournament, so we never had cases like that. So administratively, and his leadership skills as a coach, I think, has been commendable. And if you look at the pool of players that he has used during his duration as a coach, also it augurs well for Nigeria. So I think in this moment in time, he has got a case to try and raise his stake to say, okay, give me what I need to perform even better.
Give Coach Rhor what he needs, then he might be able to perform better. This is according to Timothy Batabaire. Staying with the coaches. Now, your country, Uganda, the Ugandan Cranes, they were in the search for a coach. To try and replace Sebastian Desabre, who of course was swayed with the Egyptian dollar, Egyptian pound. Now you have appointed McKinstry, the former Rwandan coach. Your thoughts on this coach, and also your thoughts on why we are not seeing a Ugandan coach, Timothy, also being touted, being actually earmarked to take over the reins of the Ugandan Cranes? Because you've had success, of course, with foreign coaches, relatively so.
Yeah.
If you look at the qualification, Micho, Desabre.
Yeah.
So is it that now that says we don't need to look local? We have to continue with foreign coaches.
The issue cannot arise of looking foreign, because if you are qualified, can you please put in your CV? 137 CVs were received, and the panel led by legend Kalusha Bwalia, Edgar Watson, the current CEO, and technical director called Chambare. So they were mandated to try and see those CVs, and they came up with three names, and we had Hugo Bros and Luke Eyomel also, made the cut, and so they settled for McChristry. Johnny, yes, he has got experience. He coached Rwanda. He did coach in Sierra Leone. But for me, we went for a coach who was currently in Bangladesh. That's why we are getting this coach now from Bangladesh. Yes,
cricket.
Bangladesh.
I know Bangladesh.
Yes,
they are very good at cricket.
So for me, administratively, from where I'm sitting, I'm like, yes, you already suggest that they handpick a coach to come and take over the national team. At this moment in time, I can safely say this is a vote for elections. This is trying to say we are rebuilding a national team side of Uganda Cranes, having lost a coach who qualified us. So that if Uganda Cranes fails to qualify, the fans don't take on this administration. At the moment, the administration is also having some challenges. For me, we can only tell how good Johnny can be after he has tested the waters. He needs to qualify us for the AFCON. He needs to qualify us for the World Cup. And he's 34 years. I remember when Micho came to Uganda, he was 33 years as a club coach. He coached me. So for me, Johnny McChristry, yes, 34 years, these are risky choices. These are risky coaches who want to test the waters. They can try out everything. For me, Johnny McChristry to coach Uganda Cranes is going to be a very big tall order. I'm sure he will try to cope, but I don't think he will be able to manage. Ugandan coaches didn't want that job, given the fact that they believe that the administrators of Ugandan football are colonized on the mind, that they will never give the job to the Ugandan, however qualified they is. So they boycotted applying for the top job, but they rushed to apply to be the assistant.
All right, no, I think they've got a point there.
No, they have not got. You don't have a point.
Yeah, no, they were not supposed to apply for assistant. No,
then why should you apply for assistant?
No, for assistant, I don't support them in that. But in terms of the boycott, I think it's high time Uganda as well need to look also internally and try to find.
Listen, we have got capable coaches. We have got the likes of Mike Mutebi, who is coaching KCCA.
I know him.
But he is a proud coach, and he knows his story. He knows he's good. Yes. He wants to be handpicked and be given the national team job. He will never apply for that job. I can guarantee you that.
I agree with you, coach. Don't apply for that job. National team jobs, for me, I don't like this thing of applying. I think you just need to go and get your coach. Okay, it is #FrontFootball. This is African football. Definitely enjoying the conversation with Timothy Batabaire, the man who all knows all of it about African football, really talking about his country, Uganda. They have done well. It seems as if any coach who goes to coach Uganda, it looks like this coach's profile just goes to another level. So I don't know whether it's Uganda that is good or it is the coach that is good. I'm not sure about that. You tell us, what are your thoughts on that? But every coach that has gone to coach this nation, it seems as if that profile just takes off to another level. Well done, Uganda. There's something good that you're doing there. All right. Now, Tim, here's a great man of the game, former captain of Moroccan national team, Benatia, retiring from international football. Would you say, look, it was time, looking at the contribution he's been in the national team fold over 10 years, really, look, he was, an ever-present figure. If you talk about captain Captain Fantastic Benatia, playing for the likes of Juventus club level. But when you talk about Morocco, helping them qualify for the World Cup, really stood high and tall above the rest. But here he is now saying that, look, enough is enough. Let me pave way for younger players that can take over from where I have left off. Your thoughts on the retirement of this great, great legend of Moroccan football?
Elasto, I disagree with his retirement. 32 years is still very young. For me, I don't believe in any retirement when you're still playing club football. If you can play for the club, you can't play for the national team. So there is no basis in you claiming you are retiring from international football. There is this notion, I don't know whether it's an English word, which they claim that they are giving way for the youngsters. The youngsters need to prove their way. They need to dislodge this tried and tested and show by performance that, listen, it's time to pack your bags and retire. Not to club level, just retire and go home and rest. At this moment in time, 62 appearances for the national team, over 10 years. He joins the likes of Mbarek Bosofa and Karim Ahmed, who announced their retirement. For me, it doesn't anchor well for Moroccan football at this moment in time. It was a massive disappointment for the AFCON, and I think those older players now are giving consideration for retirement because of that. But if you look at the likes of Benatia, they have served the national team very well. And I think if he has decided that he is retiring from international football, I think they need to keep them within the federation structures to try and keep that wisdom so that they don't lose it completely. I think they need to get them into football administration of Morocco going forward so that they can plow back to the country.
Mehdi Benatia, 32 years, making 62 appearances for Morocco, scoring 2 goals. He says, look, enough is enough. Now, Tim, there's some breaking news here. We were talking about Ugandan football, and really, I was just praising. I mean, Moses Magogo, the FA president.
Yes.
News is coming through that this, decorated, good leader that we always talk good about is suspended. What is happening?
And virtually, the skeletons are coming out of the closet. It did happen that, FIFA do allocate FIFA World Cup tickets to every federation, FA member.
So this has to do with World Cup tickets?
Exactly. So
2018?
No, it was not 2018. I think it was 2014.
2014.
Yeah,
Brazil.
So what happened was some of those tickets are being traced that they were sold to a certain gentleman in America for $5,000.
Oh,
and those tickets are specifically and directed that they have to be for Ugandans. So at this moment in time, we have a member of parliament, someone who happens to own a club, a football club, who petitioned FIFA that we have got a federation president who is breaking the laws of FIFA. And he did stipulate that, yes, it has taken so long, but now we have this ethics committee writing to the federation president that he has to step aside for 2 months for in-depth investigation. So at this moment in time, his deputy, Justus Mugisha, is in charge. But normally when FIFA tells you to step aside, they are not good signs at this moment in time.
I think what that means.
At this moment in time, guilt as charged. We don't know. The investigation are taking place. But the fact that he has been requested to step aside, it means that there may be a bona fide case for him to answer. But I think, in all fairness, under his leadership, we have seen some success. The question is, has that success been rooted to the core principles of success, or it has been bought success? Time will tell. If indeed is convicted, it will be a sad day for Ugandan football.
It will be a sad day indeed. As we are coming up to the end of the show, Tim, there's also another question coming from our listeners. That is Stridon Orlando. He or she asked this question. Says, why can't we have a pre-season tournament involving African teams like how they do in Europe with the Audi Cup? So why don't we have a pre-season tournament involving African teams? And we play Al Ali playing against Sundowns, playing against Zanaco, playing against Lobby Stars, like we've seen in Europe. Why can't we have that?
No,
that is the question coming from Stridon.
That can be done. there's nothing that cannot be done. Now it comes back to the organization, the leadership, which we are crying about. We have got the African cancer that is coming through administration. The leadership we are lacking. So that can be done. We have got Audi on the African continent. We have got Mercedes-Benz on the African continent. We have got MTN. We have got Toto. We have got sponsors that can make that happen. The sponsors are there. The leadership is lacking. We don't like to account for every penny that is being given to us. And that's the problem.
I think it's a good question. If you look at the changes that are going to be affected as far as the CAF Champions League, the Confederations Cup as well, in terms of that neutral venue where the finals are going to be played. It's no longer a two-legged final. It is only a one-match affair. So if you take into consideration what Stridon is saying, where if you have these teams playing these preseason tournaments in neutral venues, you might just push that spirit of saying that when now we play the proper the actual official Champions League final in a neutral venue, we get accustomed to see not only our teams but teams that are coming from elsewhere. Tim, there's a lot that we're going to discuss tonight. Issues of hooliganism in Zambian football. Definitely something that we do not condone here. No. And definitely we hope that Zambian football, they are not known to be violent in terms of their fans. But yeah, there were some disturbing events that happened to Nkana Red Devils, their fans just venting their anger on them. But I want to thank you for having me on this show. Of course, just having a quality discussion regarding football on the continent. And thanking you as well, all our listeners, those that were sending us, communicating with us via Twitter. We are very, very grateful to that. Until we meet again next time, hopefully, yes, we have the regular members, the likes of Craig Itafia, who is playing, of course, the MTN final. So we wish him all the best against SuperSport over the weekend. Bring that trophy home. If he wins, we tell you that trophy will be wearing his gold medal. But from me, Elasto Kapoeja, always a pleasure to have been in your midst. Until we meet again next week. Good night.